Hola, it's Bella. Hi everyone. Welcome back. Um, I don't even care to stop my horse while we're doing this. Um, I just want to talk because I haven't really done a video. That's not true. I don't know if I've even posted it yet. Oh, I think I did. No, I didn't. I didn't. Anyway, I have a training time coming up soon that I'm excited about. I just told a couple of my stories that happened to me in real life. Anyways, um, I just wanted to come on here and talk about stuff because, like, hey, I want to. Can this race accept older words? Dang it! Um, and yeah, I just want to, so I'm going to. I'm stupid. I just pressed it. So today's topic is school. Because summer is like over halfway done already, and it's freaking crazy. Because like I feel like we just started summer, and now it's already like over halfway done. It's just crazy. And the fact that just school in general is stressful. You know, I transferred schools mid last year. I transferred 2 weeks before second semester started because my old school was too stressful. Because like now I'm mostly remote, whereas before I was actually in a school, you know, with like I had 6 periods, I think. Not to mention like electives and blah blah blah. I don't like PE, because I have anxiety and I don't like the fact of like people looking at me, because you know, like even though they're not, it's just I always feel like they are, like they're judging me in their heads or something. Or if I like screw up for the team or whatever, for put on teams or like literally anything. I don't like PE, so instead I took up orchestra and choir, so I didn't have to do PE. If you don't know, like orchestra and choir, at least in my school, are both year-long classes instead of just like one semester, like art. And PE even is one semester. But like that's half of the school year. Like one semester is half of the school year. So I did not want to deal with that stress of PE every semester. Not to mention the changing rooms, like you're changing in front of other people. You know, like that's just not comfortable for me. And my PE teacher, I only had PE in 6th grade because it was after my choir class because because in just last year I took, for the semester that I was there, I took orchestra and choir, so I didn't have to do PE. What am I doing? And yeah, but like my PE teacher last year was not good at all. She was very strict. She's like she could be sweet at sometimes, like certain points, but like not really. If you know what Tabatas is, like Tabatas is like really stressful, and she'd like get really mad at you if you'd like stop to like take a breath, and she'd be like, just get up and do it, you know, like because she herself was a fit woman. She was smaller but a fit woman, and so she just didn't really accept the fact that not all of us could do Tabatas every twice a week, you know? I don't know. Especially because, like, I don't know. I just need a little bit. I run out of breath very, very easily, which is why I picked up cross country last year, but I dropped out like very quickly because I lose my breath very easily. And although like I like horseback riding, and I like doing certain stuff like going on like I like to run and stuff. At least I used to, but I just run out of breath too quickly, so I don't. All this to say that like I didn't like doing Tabatas. I didn't like you know, the stress of that. And yeah, and like back to like the changing thing, my teacher, like I kept saying, Like I asked her, I told her that like I was very uncomfortable changing in front of like 20 other girls, and I wanted to change in the bathroom stall because I was literally one of the first kids to get out of the changing room because I did it so quickly because I was so uncomfortable. Um, and not to mention my PE clothes are literally 3 times my size because I was short. I'm still quite short. Um, and so like the smallest they had, because they used to be a junior high school before they became a middle school. So um, it was just, my size was what the smallest they had, which was very, very long for me. And so that was uncomfortable, but like she would not let me change in the bathroom stall. She was like, "No, you are going to change outside with everyone else," because there was 3 bathroom stalls. So it wasn't like I was taking up the only one, so people had to use the restroom. Like I wasn't the only one. I wasn't taking up the only stall. There was 2 more. And she's like, "Do you know what would happen if I let every girl who was uncomfortable change the bathroom stalls?" Like all of that, because like not everyone could, because there's only 3 bathroom stalls. But all this to say, I don't like PE. Well, also with like the grades, because my parents care about grades. As does I think every parent. They very much care about your grades, and it's very stressful because like for all my life I've been a straight A student, at least for the most part. But obviously, as I get older, school gets harder, and I get like, oh jeez. I like to start multiple projects at the same time, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna get these all done, and then when I get bored of one, I'll start on the other, and then I just end up not getting them done. And I don't know, school just stresses me out. It's incredibly boring for me, especially I don't like ELA, I don't like history much. Sometimes I can get behind history, but I don't like ELA, I don't like English. I don't like English, I don't like history. My favorite subject is math, and even then I get severely stressed out in that because I've been in advanced math since I was in 6th grade. And I'm supposed to be running START next year, and it's just all like a lot. I want to be in a running START because then I'll be able to graduate earlier, and it's just gonna be it'll in the long run it'll be worth it. But the me that's now going through it, the Bella that is here going through this, is just like, I'm already not looking forward to it, and I haven't even started it yet. Not to say like I think running START is awful, because I'm excited to be one, but at the same time it's just gonna be stressful. Because you don't want to fail, and then have to either take summer school or just have to retake the year. I remember when I was at my old school, I would constantly try to call my mom to pick me up before I started English and history, because it was my only block class. And it was the last classes I had of the day, I mean. So I would always try to call my mom and say like, hey, can you please pick me up? I'm about to go to like English and stuff. I didn't attend it much. My teacher, she stressed me out because she took forever to finish her sentences. She will hang on to the last vowel of a word for a good 3 seconds. So say she was saying, all right, class. She'll be like, all right, class. And then she hangs on to the S's too. So like if it's class, she's like, okay, class. I don't know. She just hung on to the words, and I was like stressed out, and I was like, please just finish your sentence. And I hate working in groups. It's easier to work in groups, but every time I'm getting the most work, and every time I feel like if I screw up my part, then the entire group is gonna get a bad grade. And our parents care deeply about our grades, and obviously you don't want to get bad grades, and school just puts so much stress on you, and not to mention you're there over 6 hours a day. Lucky for me, now I'm only there an hour and a half to 2 hours 3 times a week, but still, the same stress is there, because either Even though I'm no longer in school, regular schools, 5 days a week, 6 hours a day, um, I'm still stressed. Yeah, I still have school to go to. I all last year I was the highest student in my class, so there was like a certain expectancy that my teacher had, and I don't even know my score of my last year's SBAs or SATs, whatever you want to call them. I don't even know the score of what I got, so for all I know, I could have freaking failed. But because of my other grades, I was able to go up to the next grade. Um, or like I don't know, it's just school is stressful. I don't know a single person except actually yes I do. I only know one person who likes school. The rest are like, no, I don't want to go to school. I don't like school. Also because we're kids, they encourage us, get outside, get outside, have fun. But for the most part of our days, we're in a school building, or for me, we're like trapped inside of our house, or looking at a computer screen, doing homework, or writing stuff down to do homework. And my teacher, last year, I really loved my teacher for the second semester of last year, because I only had one teacher, and the rest I did by myself. But now this year I'm obviously getting a different teacher. I mean, I know him, but at the same time it's like he was just my other teacher's tech guy, and now he's gonna be my teacher. So I don't really know how I feel about that. Because like I don't know what his expectations are gonna be for me, because he was there to witness that I was the best student in my class. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I was the best student in my class that entire second semester, and he knew that. He was there, and he was there every day that I was there, and he knew that, like, hey, this student is like, everyone there had high expectations for me. My parents, my teacher, actually two, the grown-ups that were there, myself, I have expectations for myself, and yeah. Yeah, I remember in my last year, in my first semester at my old school, we had a reading log where we had to read a certain amount of hours every week, and then at the end we would put down what book we read and for how long we read a day, to meet up a certain amount of hours for the week. And then at the end of the week, we would turn in the reading log to her, and she would look over them and make sure that we did what we were supposed to. And every month we went to the library to, like, I don't know, do something. We would have to tell my teacher like what book we were reading, how far we are, what it's about, what chapter we're on, what page we're on if we remember, like all of that, and how long we've been reading the book for, so she knows like we're not just like having been reading the same book for 4 years and then just saying like, oh hey, I'm like 3/4 done. Everyone that I know is like, even the person that I know who likes school, she even admits that sometimes it can be too much. And like with the reading stuff, I don't like reading. I will read when I want to, I don't want to be forced to read or forced to do anything, or else I'm not going to be able to enjoy it, because it's like I have to do it. And so I have to do it a lot. And when I'm forced to do something that I'm already not a big fan of, it just becomes super boring, and I don't absorb what I'm reading, and it's just not good. So I never really lied, but I found myself like staying up to read because either I forgot or I was just really didn't want to, so I put it off for past or future me to handle, and future me came and I was staying up to read. And one time my mom caught me because I had my light on, because at the time I lost my book lamp thing, so I had to use the flashlight on my phone to be able to see what I was reading, and I was caught the next morning when I admitted that I was reading. And yeah, it's just like school is like so unnecessarily stressful, especially with tests, where I star tests, which ones are timed, which I hate, because like I take my time answering my questions. I triple check my answers to make sure I feel confident in them, and then I go over every single answer that I have to make sure it adds up and I think I answered it correctly. Then I go over it again, and I redo. Sometimes I even have to redo if it's math or something. I have to redo the problem if I don't believe it, or I have to read an article or something to make sure I did it correctly. Whereas star tests, you only get like, even on math, you only get a certain like a minute or a minute and a half to answer a question, and then you move on to the next one. And considering how well you're doing, they give you harder and harder and harder questions. I literally got up to like, I don't know, 11th, 12th grade questions, and I was stuck. I had no clue, and it like I kept timing out, and I felt really bad because like I kept timing out because they're giving me way too harder questions. That's the thing, because like they want you to get the best score on STAR tests, but at the same time you're giving material that you won't learn for another 3-4 years if you're doing good. Um, and it's just crazy because like I can't do anything but time out on those questions because like I do not know them. I have not studied those. I've never even heard of specific equations. And they only give you like a minute to solve like hard questions, and I usually end up timing out because I'm halfway through the problem when it times out. Or I haven't, because I'm a very slow reader, and I have to keep going back over certain text, over certain sentences because I keep missing it, and I have to reread it like 3 or 4 times to actually absorb what I'm reading. And for those, I usually am only like halfway or 3/4 through the article before I'm done, or I'm like, it's hard. It's hard. And like with homework and stuff, my old math teacher, he was incredibly strict, really rude, and he was like from New York, so he blamed it on, oh, it's just like a New York attitude. He was incredibly strict. He sent a special needs girl to like he kicked her out of the class the very first day. So yeah, that left a good impression. He was extremely just insensitive and rude. He assigned lots of homework every day, and it was just hard to keep up with. We had to review all of our problems the next day, and it's hard. And he was a very strict teacher. I was always remember being scared of that class. It was in the first semester. I had my electives, so I had choir, then I had orchestra, then I had his class, and then I had math, and then I had no, sorry, he was teaching math. After that, I had what else did I have? Oh, science, duh. After him, I had science, and then I went to ELA. The weird thing about being in the grade I was that in science class, mid-science, like exactly in the middle of our science class, we'd stop and go to lunch, and we'd come back and finish the class. So I just forgot everything I learned, because I just went out to have lunch. And it's just very, very stressful. And my science teacher, she liked to put on, like, she was very sweet, but at the same time, she was very, like, pushing on, like, you have to do this, like, there's no really going out. When we finally get our breaks, it's like it just goes by because we're finally relaxing, And then in summer, we still have to work because if you don't want to forget all the material you just learned the 3 months before, you have to keep working in summer. And my old teacher from the second semester of last year when I transferred, she gave me 2 math books that I now read to, like, still make sure I understand everything. But it's like, it's not really a break because now I'm still having to work. I'm still having to do this stuff. And especially with, like, due dates, with you have to turn it in a certain amount of time. And sometimes, like, if I don't know, like, I have a really hard time with due dates. I really don't like due dates, because then I'm just stressed about, like, okay, I have to do it in a certain amount of time, then I have to have set aside a couple days to review and revise, then I have to do other things, and not to mention, like, I have a life, I go to my barn to hang out and visit horses that I love. I deal with a lot of grief in my life because a part of like being connected to my barn also means loss, and I'm dealing with all of that, and all of this stuff, and it's just crazy. And no matter what, school expects so highly of you, and if you don't score a certain amount, it's hard. And you can either get in trouble at home, or like the teacher just like says you have to do better, and one time in my science class I didn't do so well on a project that I had, and she's like, you have to do better, and I was like, I tried my best. I wasn't trying to talk back or anything. I told her I tried my best, and then she says, well, try harder. Like, I cannot tell you how much I spent trying to revise and stress that I made sure that my answers were correct on that freaking assignment. Not to mention, like, my freaking science teacher. I loved her, but I hated her at the same time. This freaking science teacher, we could not stay in the same seat for over like 1 or 2 weeks. Then we always had assigned seats, and we'd have to go to a specific spot. And the reason she did this is because she wanted us to be comfortable with all of our classmates. As me, who is an introvert, extremely shy, and has anxiety, I did not really appreciate that. Be able to do, I cannot just sit with people. People that I don't know, because like I feel uncomfortable around them. And it's not that I didn't have friends in that class. I had, I think, 2 friends in that class, and I was literally never put by them. And the only way I was able to stay at school is if I was with people I knew, because other than that, I just felt too nauseous and I'd have to just leave because I felt so bad. Not to mention, I also have emetophobia, which is the fear of throwing up. And so when I get anxious, I get nauseous. When I get nauseous, I get anxious. It's a never-ending cycle that always happens when I'm stressed out, which is at that point school. I still have my fidgets that I play with, and thank God my teacher from second semester when I transferred last year, she accepted that, and she had her own fidget even, so I was able to play with them. And she was very flexible, she allowed us to have phones, and she allowed us to take phone calls in the middle of our class because, people know that we're in school, so if they call us, it's important. And I was able to take a certain amount of calls, and that was really nice. It was a good transfer, but that also means that, like, hey, I'm still in advanced classes. I'm still sitting in front of a screen 2.5 hours a day doing stuff that I really hate. And I've always been not necessarily an overachiever. I mean, I have been an overachiever, and I also like to just. Well, for the good thing about my teacher is she'd assign, like on Mondays, and my newest teacher from last year's second semester, we're gonna call her Barbara. So Barbara, who is the teacher from second semester, my new teacher, on like the Monday, she'd assign my online work for the next week or 2 weeks. So then if I finished early, I could just do the next stuff, so I didn't have to worry about the work, and then just have to worry about actually going to school. And it's just, yeah, I have to be very careful about what I say because I don't want to expose too much, about like my personal life and stuff, because I know like I can only say a certain amount of stuff before it's like, oversharing and stuff, because I can't help but overshare because I'm literally just talking to myself, staring at a screen, playing Star Stable, and I'm having a very small channel, so I know it's barely reaching anyone. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, in school it's just I don't like it, and yeah, I hate school. I really don't like school. Even literally just me sitting here and talking about it is getting me anxious because I hate it. 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 And like, yeah, one time, Barbara, and me and my dad went because I had an advisory class, and which is just a one-on-one with me and my parent and the teacher once a week. And apparently, for whatever reason, we went into lockdown, so we were stuck there for a good, like, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour. Um, and we weren't allowed to leave. I don't remember why, but we were not allowed to leave. And we just had to kind of sit there, and eventually she just go. I mean, there's no one else here, you can just go. Um, and I was like, yeah, we have to get back to Raven. Raven, my dog. You can follow her on Instagram, her link will be down below. And I was like, we have to get back to Raven. And my dad was like, oh yeah, she's been in the car for a while. And my teacher, Barbara, was like, who's Raven? And I was like, oh, she's my dog. And she says, oh, you have to sign paperwork before you can bring her on the premises. Because, you know, I have her registered now as my emotional support dog, so I have her card. And after that, I fill out paperwork so I can take her to school with me. And, I was like, I didn't say anything, neither did my dad, but I was thinking, like, this school isn't really a school. Advisory classes were in our basement, and math classes were in a cubicle. It was in from 6th grade to 12th grade for school. And the classes only lasted a certain amount of time before we just went home for the day and finished our school online. And this place had pigs, you know, they had farm animals, and we always parked in the very back of the parking lot because that's where it had the most shade for Raven. And I was thinking in my head, like, yeah, but she's on our property, she's in our car, or in our truck, excuse me, and you know, she's just here because I get very anxious in the car, so she's here so I don't feel as anxious in the car. So that's why she's here. I don't know, it's just, yeah. But, yeah, so that made me a little bit, like, irritated. Sorry, not irritated, frustrated. But, I got over it. But, yeah, I don't know. You guys, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm trying to express here, you know what I'm trying to express here. It's just, I can keep saying I do not like school. It's just so much unneeded stress and pressure you're putting on kids, on just little kids. You know, they start school at the age of like 4 or 5. That's then they start kindergarten, not to mention like preschool before that. Which I still have pictures from when I was in preschool. We had to like hold up 3 letters to spell out dad for like our present for our dad. I remember all the other kids were being goofy and like sticking their heads through the letters and just making silly faces. At me, I was frowning, looking at the ground, clearly looking, I don't know, either scared or just over it or stuff. And I was like just like looking down and then just having to like look up at the camera. I did not smile in any one of them. I held the letter, so I was just holding it. The letter was to the ground, up to my like waist, or no, up to my I don't know, my abdomen or something. It's a very big letter. And I just remember like, just get me out of here. You know, and you know, like, there's so much stress, especially with kids like me, who are just like shy and have anxiety or introverts, and just, you know, at halfway through the day my social battery is at -50, you know. And yeah, if you're like an introvert, you know what I mean by like social battery. You know, it's just being being social, and we are okay with being social, but we get our happiness and joy from being alone or being with our pets, or not necessarily being social all the time. And so my social battery is always like -2000 when I get in the car to go home. And I remember last year when I took my SBAs, it was literally, I drove to a different school because I couldn't go to my own school because I don't even know why. I think it was taken up by like other people. I think like high schoolers or something who were taking their own test there, so we couldn't. We had to drive to a different school that was farther away than my own, and it literally felt like an interrogation room. We had to leave our bags. Obviously, this is just protocol. We had to leave our bags at the back wall. There was only 2 bathrooms, and they never really specified which one is the boys and which one's the girls. So I just didn't go to the bathroom because I was afraid of walking into the wrong one. And I was there for like a good, I don't know, 2-3 hours. And we had to take, I think, 2 per thing. 2 per time we went there. I went there 2 times, one for math and one for English. And because of my grade, I didn't have to take like my science one and stuff. I only had to take my math and English because of my grade. But this year I'm going to have to take more, which is just stresses me out because, like, you know, I guess I'm fine with doing like homework and stuff, but when it comes to testing, I just lose my mind. I'm like, because this is being graded, this is going to be, and as I mentioned, SBAs are shown to the entire school board. Like, they are going to know who I am, they're going to know what my score is, how long I spent on it, you know, it's all of that. And yeah, it's just freaking crazy, dude. It was literally freezing in there. There was one desk at the very front, which is where my teacher sat, and then there was like, I don't know, 30, probably like 40 kids in the room. And there was 2 people at desk, but I always ended up at the one that was that never had anyone else sitting next to me, which is fine. And there's no such thing as cheating in that because everyone has different questions, and in different orders if you're the same grade. And you know, like, you cannot have phones. We literally put our phones in paper plastic bags that my teacher held onto on her desk, and then at the end she would have to give us our bags to go home. Like, we could not just take our phone, she had to give it to us. And that also sucked because we were taking these. It was freezing outside. I don't know, it felt like freaking 40 degrees. It was like probably like 60 something. In Fahrenheit, by the way. But it just felt like it was freaking 40. And I only had this like small little sweater to curl up in. Well, I waited like a half an hour for my dad to come up because we couldn't have our phone, so I couldn't text my dad, hey, you should probably start heading out of the house because I'm about done. So I wouldn't have to wait outside in the freezing cold for half an hour, but I ended up having to anyway. Which doesn't really have anything to do with the fact that I don't like school, but that's just about, you know, I can't have our phone, so yeah, you know, not to be able to cheat. And if I might keep talking, I'm just gonna talk in circles. So that's it. And if I have anything else to say, I'll put it at the end of the video. Yeah, and I also have a Discord server, so the Discord link will be in the description. Jeez. Or it'll just be like my server or whatever. I'm pretty sure I'll hopefully be able to leave a link to it. I don't know because it's in the Discord app. Anyways, good luck with school coming up, guys. Jeez, it's going to be one heck of a year. Thanks for watching. Bye.